On this episode of the High Not to Laugh podcast, we're going to do what we call master debating. And it's something that we argue about, and this is about if Rosemary's Baby is a horror movie. He doesn't believe that it is. And
somehow you do. I'm high.
Right. Welcome to the High Not to Laugh podcast. I'm Craig, and to my right is the Beavis to my butthead,
Jason.
I didn't want to pick something from this movie because it would have gone dark.
Wrong.
Yeah. So I just went with Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is an argument. This is the podcast that once a month where we're going to talk about things that we personally disagree with. His wife and a lot of people will say, you guys are very alike. And that's true in most things. But once in a while...
he gets something wrong.
No. He says... Well, go ahead.
All right.
Make your opening statement.
Opening statement is some ground control, making sure that everybody understands that I truly believe, having watched it more than once, that Rosemary's Baby is an amazing movie.
It is.
Okay. Now that's where everybody's going to start not agreeing with me. All right.
Yeah, here's the part where he gets wrong.
It's not a horror movie. All right? It's not a horror movie. The end. It's not a horror movie. You can't tell me it's a horror movie. It doesn't make sense that people put it on horror movie top lists. It doesn't make sense to me because not only is it not scary to me, sure, it's not scary. It's not a scary movie.
To which I say, every single list by a professional critic or people who are just lovers of the genre have this somewhere around their top 10 or higher as a upper echelon horror movie. That doesn't happen with non-horror movies because it's a horror movie list.
First
it's
of
not
all,
best movies of all time.
All
it's
right.
best horror movies of all time.
I'm never going to take the words of a critic because critics poop on the movies that we love.
To be fair, we do love a lot of movies that are poop.
Maybe. So we can't take their lists into account because their lists are based on their flawed, skewed mindset that they think horror movies are bad naturally. All right? They don't get to speak on it. Okay? This movie's not scary. I could literally edit out 3 frames because I rewatched it this morning. I could literally edit out 3 frames from this movie, and no one would ever think it was a horror movie at all. It's not there. It's not scary. It's not there. All right? If the end of the world is as much as it takes for it to be a scary movie, or that other thing, then Law Abiding Citizen. That's a horror movie, right?
That's not about the end of the world?
No, that's not. That other thing I said that happens in this movie. The reason that I have to assume people think that this is a horror movie.
Oh, because someone is assaulted that way? He's trying to be careful with language.
It's like...
essay.
Yeah.
Is something you could say.
It's like... I know we personally think that Deliverance is a horror movie because of the things that happened in it.
Yeah.
It's not considered a horror movie by most. So why is that one not considered a horror movie and this one is?
Well, when the perpetrator of this essay, or the group of perpetrators include Satan...
Well, he was technically the only one.
No.
They were all just naked. Standing there naked.
You paid a lot less attention this time, too, didn't you?
No.
Anyway, Satan impregnated this woman with the Antichrist.
Yes.
Bringing about the end of times. And he's like, there's nothing horrific about that.
It's literally a woman going through her pregnancy and being a little depressed. All right?
Oh, boy.
And then, like, the end of the movie happens, and they're like, maybe it could get scary in the future. The end.
All right. Well, here's my first rebuttal. I have dropped him on his head when he was a child.
No. I don't care if you did or not.
And
all right?
by that, I mean I used to purposely dangle him. No, I did not do that. But that would be the only way to really explain the things he just had come out of his face hole.
No, this movie's not scary. If this movie's scary, then Left Behind is a horror series. You cannot argue me that.
Yes, I can.
That Left Behind is horror?
No.
Right, so you can't argue me
No,
that.
you saying that those two things are intertwined is where I'm like, you're an
So what
idiot.
makes this a horror movie? Not, people online agree. I don't care what people online say. People online get it wrong all the time.
This movie's been out since 1969. People were agreeing with me before there was online at people's homes.
I don't care. All right? I don't care that you're basing it on everybody else thinks so.
I will tell you
Why
this.
do you think it makes it a horror movie?
No, listen to some of the things I have to say. The Guardian ranked it as the second best horror film of all time.
Okay, so you have to say these other people said something.
Variety has it at number 5 of the top 100 horror movies of all time. According to Britannica.com, Rosemary's Baby, released in 1968, is considered a landmark in the horror genre with its focus on the occult as well as a naturalistic it's something in French, but it emphasizes psychological tension over cartoonish thrills. So instead of a bunch of jump scares like he apparently wanted, he got psychological tension, which, by the way,
not terror, yeah.
is horror.
I wouldn't think so. Dramas are tense. Action movies have tense.
His wife is agreeing with him, but his wife has bad taste. She doesn't like E.T., so look at the company he keeps.
Yeah, you. Here I am on this show with you talking out of your mouth, but it's not acting like a mouth.
Oh.
No.
Also, it was based on the 1967 horror novel by Ira Levin, and the novel was the best-selling horror novel of the entire 1960s, selling over 4 million copies. It came out in 1967 and was the best-selling horror novel of the decade.
Yeah.
In 3 years,
Cool.
it became...
Yeah.
And this movie was based on it.
Much like many debates I've seen recently, I asked you a question, and then you didn't answer it.
Well, go ahead. Ask the question.
What, to you, not to a million other freaks online, all right? What do you watch this movie and say, this is what makes it a horror movie? What in Rosemary's Baby makes it a horror movie?
The fact that there was a cult that got together with this woman's husband and literally were setting up the end of times by having her assaulted by Satan and fulfilling the duty of providing his seed a womb. If you don't see how that's horrific, you're dumb and also a bad Christian.
Oh? So I'm supposed to root against the end of the Bible? I don't think so.
The producers out there going, no, you went too far with that. But listen.
No.
So you don't think that Satan's seed finding, ground to grow.
If having a cult in a movie or a show or whatever, if anything having a cult makes it horror, then, sorry, I just watched a scary episode of Parks and Rec last night.
We're about to go over the lines we won't be monetized for this, but that's okay. We're not to where we get monetized anyway. But
I'm not about to do anything.
I am.
Jackass.
Because apparently he wants me to point out, or he doesn't want to point out, that it's not just a cult, it's a murder-rape cult. And I'm sorry, a murder-rape cult is freaking scary to anyone that's not on the giving end of the murder rapes.
So?
Oh, where's your answer? No, don't. So isn't an answer.
All right, so ask me the question. What was the question? There was no question there. I didn't hear a question mark.
What makes you think of a cult that does those two things repeatedly
as
not horrific? Please.
If it's something that I could see on an average episode of frickin' Criminal Minds, okay? They go darker in Criminal Minds. I wouldn't consider that a horror show. I know we made an argument for it, but Seven's not a horror movie. It's a crime thriller. And
Seven is considered a horror movie.
it's a crime thriller. It's not
and
a horror
it's also
movie.
considered a horror movie.
By young, dumb people who don't know better. 'cause
By
it's a
people
thriller.
from the minute that it came out.
I don't think so.
It's
not marked as
psychological.
that.
It's oh my. Then Saw's not, because most of it's like
No, psychological horror is still horror, but this is not
Seven
that.
is definitely like okay.
Rosemary's
This
Baby's
is going
not
to
a
be an
horror
argument
movie.
that continues through the night. Apparently.
Oh yeah, we don't let this go when it comes up. All right, I highly recommend that anybody out there goes and watches this movie. And if you come back and can truly tell me that you think it's a horror movie, I don't think that I like you. All right, you're wrong. You're lying to yourself.
Anyone that has seen this movie and now watched his stupid argument,
No.
even if you agree with him, I guess, in the comments, explain why you agree with him or why he's a blithering idiot.
All right, back to what he said. All right,
Blithering idiot?
No. All right, if a Satan murder rape cult is happening, all right, you'd think you'd know.
I mean, they kind of keep it on the DL. It's really hard to murder rape if you're like.
If you are a
excessively
recipient
loud
of
about
this,
it. Oh yeah.
all right, if you're Mia Farrow,
Right.
okay,
In this case, yes.
yes, she didn't even know it was going on. When she realized it was going on, she was like, gee, this is happening right now. I thought this was a dream. Oh man.
The cult was also drugging her and trying to convince her she was crazy with the things that they were making her see and then going, you didn't see that. They were doing it to mess with her, to get her into a place where she
I'm
was
talking
psychologically.
specifically about the
I'm
acting at
talking
that
about
point.
the stuff leading up to that scene where she got impregnated, where they basically tried to mess with her head completely so that by the time that happened, she wouldn't know if it was real or not, which is psychological terror.
For her, maybe personally, but not to us, the viewers.
For the main character that you're following through the whole thing, but outside of her, why would you pay attention to that?
We're just never going to see eye to eye in this one. Like, it's as simple as watching this movie.
All right.
It's great, but it's not scary.
If I get 3,000 likes on this video, you share it with every... If you watch this far and you can share this with every horror fan you know that has seen that movie or not, if I get 3,000 likes, I will slap him on the face. That's how we will start the next Master Debaters.
Coming.
The next Master Debaters is going to be another movie one. I've thought of one actually.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's going to be about a certain group of kids that were forced to spend a Saturday at school. And
Oh, that movie's hilarious.
see, that probably gave enough away that you know what I'm talking about. But we have a debate with that. That'll be the next one because it actually makes sense because we've done 2 movie ones so far. Might as well
Keep going
trifecta.
at least as long as
But
we can.
if I get 3,000 likes on this, I will start the next one first by going, oh, by the way. And that's just a preview. It'll be harder next time. I promise I will.
At 3,000 likes, I'll let him.
Because that means at least 3,000 views,
At least.
right?
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Get us up to 3,000 views.
Anyway, like, subscribe, and we'll be back next week with another podcast.
Yeah.
Not when we're doing that. It's actually back to...
Reviewing Iron Man 2?
Yeah, it'll be Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
'Cause we're going through the Marvel Universe.
I've been your host, Jason.
Well, hold up.
No,
hold
wait.
Up, hold up. No. And, I didn't have one here. I guess, as always, running out of weed is scary as hell.